So just want to say welcome to our workshop on Kitbashing with AI, streamlining 3D workflows using MPX ComfyUI nodes. I'm Nelda, head of operations at Masterpiece X, and I'm joined by my colleague Leslie, who is the head of strategy here at Masterpiece X. And we're really thrilled that you could join us and explore how AI can help you optimize your 3D production process. So a few things before we dive in. Here's what we have on the agenda for today. So we're starting off with the intro, which is what we're doing right now. Then Leslie we'll be going to installing nodes. So Leslie will walk you through the setup process. Then we'll move towards the introduction to Masterpiece X nodes, where you'll learn the features and benefits of these particular nodes, and then go into the Kitbashing workflow, where you could see how the AI-assisted workflows in action. Then we'll go into Q&A, and then next steps is, you'll learn how to keep the momentum going. All right. So a little intro. We know that 3D teams are facing rapid changes in AI, making it really challenging to integrate cutting-edge tools into the existing pipelines. So our goal at Masterpiece X is to enable teams like yours and professionals to quickly adopt AI without the complexity of building everything from scratch. So we've developed a developer-friendly infrastructure and expert services to streamline integration and accelerate AI adoption. And as AI pioneers in 3D, your insights and enthusiasm can really spark a transformative changes into your teams or whatever projects that you're involved with. So we want to make sure we equip you with the innovative approaches so you can lead that charge, inspire your colleagues, and shape the future of 3D production. So with that, let's get started. First up, we'll walk you through installing the ComfyUI nodes so you can follow along in real time. But feel free to pop any questions in the chat and we'll address them as we go along. So passing it off to you, Les.
Okay, thanks, Nelda. I'm going to walk through this flow. This takes about 15 minutes or so to figure it all out, but I'll explain exactly how it works. So what we're going to do is we want to try to create some sort of maybe a European street scene. I'm being pretty general. It can be anything. Last time we did this workshop, I created a space freighter, like a spaceship. But today I wanted to do a street scene. So if you look at the very first node, okay, it says, I'm designing an asset kit for constructing a quaint European street scene using a kitbashing technique similar to methods used by miniature train and plastic model kit builders. In this process, every piece is precisely crafted individually. So this prompt is being inserted into the text to object list. That's one of our nodes. So we have this node on the left-hand side. We have this thing called text to object list. Let me see if I can find it. There it is. You see how it looks text? It's this, okay? And this string is connected right at the tip, right there. Boom, it's connected, right? That's how we connected it. If you are doing this on your own and you have a text to object list and you wanted to connect something to it, you're like, oh, you can just type it all in this box. You don't have to connect it like I did. You can take all this. In fact, I can do it right now. I can copy this, put it in here. It's the exact same thing. I'll delete it now, and I'll make this connect to that, and I'll make this connect to that, and then I'll delete this, and now we have the exact same thing. I just wanted to show you how to create it so that when you can play around on your own. So inside of here, I said, okay, I've said I want, I've said this too many times, but I've said that I want what I'm making. I explain that I want just a single object. Then I explain what kind of objects I want, like a multi-story shop front, a multi-story home, a multi-story cafe, some street lamps, some tables and chairs, a fountain. And then it also decides that to do other things on its own. So it's just called street scene elements, generate detailed list of other exterior street scene elements. So the large language model is just brainstorming. And then what happens is when I hit run at the bottom here, this run button, you can see the green tells you that this is what's happening right now. It's thinking about this, and what it's doing, it's creating 1 to 4 objects. And let's see. Let me change that. Let me change that to more objects. I think that's the bug there. Oh, that's the problem. I'll explain that later. I know what exactly happened here. So I want more than 4 objects. I actually want more like maybe 20 objects even. So what I'm trying to do is create 20 items to put together that's going to create that street scene. So I'm going to hit run. It's going to analyze what I'm trying to do here, and it's going to create a list of 20 objects. It might be less because LLMs aren't perfect. So usually it gets all 20 objects. Sometimes it stops at 16 or 17. So now it's thinking, and there's 20 objects, okay? So we got a wrought iron street lamp, we got a stone fountain, a wooden outdoor table, some shops, a bunch of things, okay? And then, remember I said earlier we have this select from string list node, and that's this node here. All we did is we said, this shows me, show the list, all the things in the list. Okay, and you can tell from the back of this, it says underscore list. And then this is a list, so you know that list to list connects, okay? I'm going to take that same list, and I want to select. Now this lets me select from one of these 20 objects so that we can work on one object at a time. Because the thing about AI is that it's really good at probabilities and giving you lots of options. It's not super good at being precise and perfect. So the goal here is to look at a bunch of images that represent the 3D, choose the ones we want, and then pass it on to the 3D behind the scenes, the image to 3D tools that we have, and then it spits out the images. So for now, let's try a number 8, which is the multi-story cafe. Okay, so I can choose, I want to work on number 8. And then before I hit run again, I've got another thing. So what this is doing is taking the number 8 right here, just this one object, right? And it's passing just that one piece of text, and it's going to create a list. And I'm going to say, give me 10 variations of the item. So I want 10 variations of this item. So it's going to add 10 variations, and it's going to apply a visual aesthetic and the color palette detailing. Now you can put whatever prompts you want in here. This is the prompt that I put in here, okay? If I want it to be super creative, I make it 1. If I want to make it very keep it to the point, I make it a 0. So I'm going to hit run. And now what it's doing is it's taking this item here that it derived from this prompt that we selected down here. And it's going, I'm going to create 10 variations of it. It's going to spit these 10 out here. And it's going to have, it'll just be, you can tell it's thinking still because this node's green. There we go. A multi-story cafe with this, a multi-story cafe without, a multi-story cafe with striped awnings. I guess we're going to be doing striped awnings all the way through. That's what the LLM has chosen for us. You can modify this in many ways to get different outputs here, and the whole goal of these workflows is to fundamentally modify this or modify that to do all the work to figure out how to build the kit. So now what it's doing is it's building these cafes right now in images, okay? And then once we figure out which ones we like, it's going to pop up and show us 10 variations. And now I get to do the picking and choosing. I'm like, well, what do I want? Well, I want that one, and I want that one, and maybe that one. Okay, so I chose 3, and then I send that along. And what I've done here is I've just saved them for later, because we're going to go and choose a bunch of other images and then send all the images at once, so that we can actually be, it's more efficient this way. It's faster to work this way. You just kind of find all the images that you want first and then send them away.
Okay.
So now we've done this number 8, the multi-story cafe. Let's do some shop storefront. So it's number 6. So I choose number 6 and I run it again. And now it's going to make 10 variations of it. It's going to apply the color. It's going to apply the aesthetic. We're going to see this change again. And then I'm going to show you another place that you can also modify things so you have more agency as well after this. Just 1 second.
Okay.
So now there's 10 variations as well. These get sent to another node of ours, which is this is an object list to an image list. Object lists and string lists, they really are just lists, and it doesn't really matter if you you can bring any list in here, any list that has, you know, a list of different text, right? This is a list of 10 things, right? All 10 of them are going to get generated. So the image, there's an image model that's creating this one. There's an image model creating this one. There's that image model creating this one. And this is what they all look like. Okay. And I'd say I like a few of them. I'd say, like, I like this one here. I like this one here. You know, I don't like the shutters as much on the wall here. I kind of like the more open fronts. So I choose those. Maybe I choose 4 of them and I send that off. And now those 4 are being saved. Now, let's say I want a different variety. I want some different variety of these shop fronts. I can change the seed value of this image. So if the seed value is 1, that's just the way that the randomization process of the image generation is, it uses the seed. So I'm going to put 500 as the seed, which just means it's going to be a different starting point. I'm going to, just to speed things up, I'm going to make 5 of them. Actually, no, I'll just do this. So what that does is it takes the same 10 variations that we're working on, and it's going to create 10 more shop fronts, but it has from a different, there it goes. Now it's working. So now you notice that the shops look a little different. The shape's a little different because the seed that we gave it is different. That's why. And so I don't mind that one. And so it's going to spit the 10 out and it's going to pop them up again. And then we can choose a few to pass on to save. And by the way, where it's saving, so I'm going to choose this one. I'm going to choose maybe, so I'm just selecting them. You can see if you look closely, there's a green line around the ones I select. Then I'll send that off. Okay. Now, just so you know, these are being saved in the ComfyUI's output folder, and I'll show you that in a second. We'll do one more item in here. Let's do some archways. Okay. So I'll go to number 14. Click run. Now we pass the archway into here. It's going to create 10 variations. And this time, because we left the seed at 500, it's going to stay at 500. And, you know, sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. This is where you play trial and error. You put a 1 in there, you put a 500 in there, you put 1,000 in there, you put 10,000 in there, you put 15, 20,000, 100,000. It goes all the way up to, I think, 999,000. And so it's like, I don't really like this. This doesn't seem like it's a fully fledged arch. So maybe this seed value is, I think this is the wrong seed value. And so what I'll do is I'll shift this to, I'm going to make it 1 because 1's usually the most obvious. And then as you move it past and further away, it starts being a little bit less obvious at times. So I'll cancel that, change that to 1, run it again. Now you don't have to do 10 variations. Yes, someone's hand is up. Yes.
In the seed, how can I know which one do I want to use? Or
Trial and error.
yeah.
You never really get a sense of knowing what the seed will give you other than trying it. All you do know is that usually at the beginning, if you use number 1, it tends to be the most obvious. And the further away you move from 1, it tends to be less obvious. But I don't even know necessarily at what percentage or how to even tell. It's actually a lot of, it's unique for every prompt. So
Okay.
you can play around with that. If you don't want to use so many images, like this is kind of like, because these do cost money because we go to our API to do all this stuff. If you want to, like, I don't want to spend very much money on this, I want to just test out some of them. I'll do 2 variations, and then I'll choose 10,000, and then I'll hit run. And now it'll be only 2 images it's generating instead of 10. And you will have some free credits that came with your account. That's, if you're following along. But so here is what seed value of 10,000 is producing. It'll just take a second to generate here. Okay, that actually looks nicer. I like these arches better. So that's part of the process where you come back and change the seed values. And I usually jump it up by 1,000 in the beginning. So because I like these, right, I'll choose this one. I'm going to keep one of them. I'm going to send it. But now I like this number. I can jump this variation number up larger. And I know all of the 10 that will be generated will be in the same style, similarly well done. The arches will be complete, but I'll have a few more variations to take a look at. And just so you know, we're making an update to our pricing. So just that the images come in around 6 cents an image to do stuff like this. And the 3D models come in around 30 to 40 cents per model. So that's why I like to keep my workflow very image heavy up front. So I'm spending less money there. And then I'm like, okay, I got my images. Now I bring it to 3D, and you're being a little more particular about what you're sending to 3D. So here's 10 images. They all are complete arches, which is great. Some of them have doors behind them. Some of them don't. But at least I knew that the arches would be complete. And then I'll be like, okay, I like this one. And I like this one. And I'll keep those 2. And that's all I'll do right now. Okay. So the whole time I've been saving them here. This save image is a node that you get automatically with Comfy. If you want to find the node, you can just search save image and it'll pop up and you can drag that out. Okay. I put it says the file name prefix. So it saves everything I've done with the 3D. Let me show you what I mean by that. In your Comfy, in your documents, in your ComfyUI, you have an output folder. You notice that I'm gonna choose and sort them by, I can sort them by name, or I can sort them by date. I'm gonna sort it by name so you can see we've made all of these images so far. These are the ones we saved, right? So what I'm doing now this is just, then what I did is I created a folder just in my outputs folder. I just created a folder just in Windows, right click, new folder. I made a folder called saved. I put an underscore in front of it. It doesn't have to have an underscore. I just did it because I wanted to sort everything so you could see it nice and easily in this demo, but you can call it whatever you want. Okay. And I'm going to drag these saved images into there. And then we're going to open up that other workflow that I sent you called image to 3D. And it should look like this. Let me know once it's open for you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to walk you what these nodes do, and then we're going to go and send all those images to be turned into 3D objects. So you'll notice that I have this load image data. So in our nodes, we have a load image data. That's the node. And it says input location. That's where I just dragged those files into that folder called saved. Okay. Mm-hmm. So you can see I've got it right here. I just type in output because that's the name of that's the default output /, and then I put underscore saved because that's where I've saved those images. And then I attach that to our image to 3D models, which is right down here at the bottom. Okay. And here you can change things like the texture size, and then it also has a randomness, but I don't usually change it that often, but you can. And then one thing I haven't talked about yet is sometimes you'll see our nodes have this thing called number underscore processes. This lets you send multiple files up all at once, so you don't have to wait for one to get done and then wait for the next to get done, so you can work in batches. Mm-hmm. So I'm working in batches of 5 right now. So what I'm doing is I'm going to hit, and then one last thing, the output folder, it's going to put them back in actually, I'm going to put them just in the output folder. So they're going to be spit back into the ComfyUI output folder when they're all done. So the images go up in batches of 5. They get processed by our Masterpiece X image to 3D tool set, and then they get spit back down right into your output folders. I'm going to hit run. And now I'm going to show you, now this, you don't have to do this, but I'm going to show you something that lets you kind of see that they're being created right now. So this is optional, but I'm just doing it so you can see it, okay? We have a web app that lets you drag and drop photos in and try it out as well, but I like the Comfy nodes because you can do all this extra LLM processing, all the elements of Kitbash building. But you can see where I logged into my account, I've got all these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 objects that we just sent up, and you can kind of see them in process. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to show you that you can look at the process of while it's happening, or in Comfy, you will see here a little green bar that'll pop up every once in a while to tell you the process. But they're being generated right now. And you'll slowly see them. So there's one that just finished right here. And so this is going to happen. And as they get done, we're going to bring these into Blender. I'll show you a few other ones I created in Blender already. Actually, let's just wait a minute. We have some time. Let's just see these occurring. And you can see now, every time there's a new one, it keeps going and adding. And so it takes about 2 minutes per model. Yep.
Yeah, for example, if I have an image that I created myself, for example, logo, I can upload that to the program and make it.
Yeah, if you want to do it in ComfyUI, what you can do is you can just put your image inside of that saved folder or put it in any folder. And let's say I'll make you a custom flow right now just to do single images, okay? So if I created a new flow, so this is still going to work in the background. I'll create a new flow and I'll say, okay, I want to load data, and then you want to drag your image to the folder, wherever folder you want to put it in there. And you make sure that the location's written here. The reason why you're seeing this right now is because ComfyUI doesn't do working on multiple flows at the same time nicely. So you might see some little glitches while I'm explaining this to you, but just ignore that.
Okay.
So you load the image data and you put the image in any folder that you want, okay? And then what you want to do is take the image to 3D and you drag it to the image to 3D. And then now you have an option of downloading it as a GLB, an FBX, a USDZ. So to do that, you go download and you just drag if you wanted a GLB file, if you want it to be an FBX, if you want it to be USD, you choose what you want, and then you tell it where you want it. And so I usually just put it in the output folder, and it'll go from whatever you put in that folder, convert it to image to 3D, and then it'll spit it back out on your hard drive. And the reason why it's nicer to use Comfy is that if you were to do it on the web, it's one at a time. But let's say you have 10 images or 20 images you want to process. This lets you put whatever you put in this folder will get processed.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So now that we're almost done I think we're done. I've got one more left. Okay. Then I'm going to bring these into Blender, and we're going to take a look at them in Blender. So just there we are. Okay. So I'm going to go to Blender. Now I've done some of my own that I had in a previous project, but we're going to create a new project. And I'll just delete that, and I will go File, Import, Blender, and I'm going to go to my Downloads, Documents, ComfyUI, the output folder, and these are, I can tell from the time of day, right till here, these are the ones we just created. Import them all, and so you can see if you're going to be creating a kind of a street scene for a project, or if you're doing an animated film, or if you're creating some concept art that you want to present to somebody, you can start using these models in Blender. Here, I'll just do, I think that's the ones we did here. Any more? There's probably more because we did some bunch. But does that make sense? Does that workflow make sense?
Yes, it's. I mean, if you're making a movie, it's really helpful to make the scenario and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'll just show you. I'll throw some lighting in here. I think there's a sun. There's a light here. Let me just get the light out. Where's the light? There's the light. I'll make the light super bright. Make it 2,000 watts, and you can. It's nice and dark. Is that a point light? Yeah, it is. Okay, you can see the light is. You can. It has all the lighting and all the things that any 3D applications do as well. So that's the flow. We have 8 more minutes left. I can answer any questions you want about the process. But that was the point of the workshop, was to share that flow, teach you our nodes. Do you have any other questions?
Not by the moment. I mean, it's really interesting.
Cool. Okay. Well, Nelda, do we have a? I forget what our closing slides are. Maybe I'll pass it over to you, and we can wrap it up.
Yeah, sure. Let me get that up. Right. So I guess like a little bit of like a closing, to share again, like what we do. There are 3 areas of our company. The first is we continue to update the latest models, so you can make sure that everything you have is the best ones out there. We have an API to help teams bring AI into their workflows, and the third, keep Comfy nodes updated. We're going to continue keeping the Comfy nodes updated and fresh. And also for like companies, we also do consulting for teams to help them construct their workflows. So in regards to,
I just wanted to say one thing about that. So for example, Sebastian, if you were working with a company that wanted to automate some of the process, not everything, but some elements of what you do, and wanted to do it in a way that that's really custom, we would be a great team to talk to help you figure out what those flows work, how do they connect, and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And in regards to next steps, here are a few next steps to keep that creative energy flowing. So the first is joining our Discord server, and there's a channel in there called Post Workshop Lounge for continuing the conversation, share feedback, and ask follow-up questions with others and our team. And finally, we want to just highlight that what's coming next in our workshop series. So every 2 weeks, we explore a new topic to help you stay on the cutting edge of AI-driven 3D. In our next session, we'll actually expand on what you've learned in the Kitbashing workflow workshop today and apply it to basic scene blocking using AI and Blender. So this will be very new and a very exciting topic to dive into. So thanks again for joining us. And if you really want to reach out, feel free to email us or reach out to us on Discord.
All right.
Thanks so
Thank you
much,
so much.
Sebastian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. Nice meeting you, and thanks for following along.
No, thank you so much.
All right. See ya.
Bye.